For me and you, I want you, I love you. Can I touch you, I rub, let me love you. Put my dreams to the side only cause I trust you. Girl, I trust you, I love you, won't judge you.
Okay, welcome back. Sevelocity back here with you all on a long, probably 2 month break, roughly. No, probably month and a half. Lots of stuff going on in the world. My boy Sean here is graduating soon. I didn't have a working computer for a month and a half, so that was a blast. We're here now. Computer works. Visuals work, camera works, I'm here, he's here, basketball is here, sports are here. It's time to talk. Would you like to say anything to the people first?
What's going on, everyone? I just want to say I'm glad to be back here with my boy Ev to chop it up on sports and like share our opinions with you guys. As you said, I ain't graduating this year, so while we were on that unfortunate hiatus, due to technical difficulties, I used that time to really grind out my schoolwork, and your boy is gonna be graduating with his first college degree. So you know what that means? I'll be done with school and be able to dedicate more time towards this velocity. It's a win-win.
So, time to talk about the NBA playoffs. We've talked person to person about some stuff. We haven't been able to be in front of a camera, but now it's time to kind of officially react to everything that's happened in the NBA playoffs. And I think that the first thing we could start with is pretty obvious, and that is the abysmal performance from the Brooklyn Nets. Floor is yours
I
if you want
gotta,
to start.
yeah, I'm gonna quote Kendrick Perkins on First Take here. KD got punked. But I mean, literally, we've already gone on enough rants about Kyrie throughout the year, so we don't need to repeat any of that. But basically, all of that came back to bite them. All of that drama, and even Kevin Durant, the leader, just being so nonchalant about it, letting it rock. We saw, I mean, part of being a leader is being able to make the tough decision and having a level of assertiveness. Kyrie's your friend, but like this is a team system. You guys have a job to do. If you're not working together as a unit, you're not going to get the job done. And that's what we saw. Boston exploited that. Now, if we could want to get specific in the gameplay, I've never seen so much help defense, quick switch help defense in my life. They blitzed Kevin Durant on every play, specifically in game one, where Kyrie did have an incredible game. The Boston Celtics really said, we'll let Kyrie do whatever. We'll literally leave everybody open, but just throw all our bodies at Kevin Durant, and including Jason Tatum, who had a lot of like great defensive plays on Kevin Durant, blocking his mid-range pull-up jump shot, which I've personally never seen before outside of Giannis. But yeah, those games were extremely physical, and Kevin Durant being, a skinny guy that really messed with him. But yeah, all around on all fronts, from Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, um, Al Horford, and then towards the end of the series, Robert Williams. I mean, these guys, they didn't I wouldn't say every night they had dominated so much on the offensive end, but it was their defense that compromised the Nets like significantly. And of course, with the Nets, the role players, they essentially look lost, didn't know what to do. I mean, even Kevin Durant and Kyrie, they weren't putting them in good situations. Steve Nash, again, let me quote Kyrie, we don't need a coach. I mean, I think a coach would have really been helpful for your role players, making adjustments to the game plan on both ends of the floor. But essentially, everything went to shambles for the Brooklyn Nets, and the Celtics exposed them. And personally, I'm so glad, because the worst thing that would have happened to basketball is with the disrespect that the Nets organization and Kevin Durant and Kyrie, especially Kyrie, was showing towards the overall game of basketball in this organization. Well, yeah, the association, I mean, that would have been the worst thing to happen for this league if they actually made it deep into the playoffs.
Well, I'll start off with saying, well, I don't think Steve Nash is going to be a great coach. I do think he does make some adjustments, but that's not to mention that the Nets are absolute frauds.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of frauds. They played everyone. I mean, we all came in here and they were the 8 seed. We're like, yeah, or the 7 seed after the play-in, and it's like, yeah, they're gonna kill Boston. They're gonna run through the playoffs, and they're gonna have a tough matchup versus the Bucks, but they're probably gonna be in the finals. They played you, okay? They played all of us, and you know what? No wonder why another fraud by the name of James Harden wanted to leave, because who could blame him?
Yep.
Apparently the whole franchise is in disarray. Kevin Durant hasn't talked to any of the Nets organization since the playoffs have ended, or since the Nets playoffs have ended. Um, Kyrie Irving is supposedly on the trade block from a couple of rumors, but one thing that the media is not covering that I think should be addressed is there was a lot of rumors a couple months back that if Kyrie was ever to be traded from the Nets, he would refuse to play for any other team. So no one's mentioned that. So are the Nets locked in with Kyrie? Are teams going to be willing to trade for him, knowing that that was in the back of their mind too? I don't know. I can't see him playing for a team like the Kings if someone tries to trade for him over there. So I think that's a pretty interesting scenario. I think that the role players half the time played better than starters, which is pretty sad. I will say that Blake Griffin deserves some credit because when he was on the floor, the team was actually better. Which I'm not a big Blake Griffin guy, but worth noting. And I will also say, if you didn't watch basketball, and the first time you ever watched basketball was watching the Celtics versus the Nets, you would have been convinced Jason Tatum was the best player on the court. So that says something about Kevin Durant too. I don't think he showed up. I know they put a lot of pressure on him defensively, but at the same time, when you're arguably the best player in the world, you have to still overcome that. Luka
Yeah.
dealt with a ton of defensive pressure, and he still dropped 40 plus points almost every game. So Nets out. We'll move on to the next topic. You have anything else you want to add? Just know that we got to get through most of the NBA playoffs.
Nope. I want to shift over to I'll go to the Sixers versus the Hawks. No, the Sixers versus the Raptors. Now, I was very frustrated that even went 6 games. As far as I'm concerned, that should have been a sweep. Maltese Thibault, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say you're a freaking idiot, forgetting to take your second dose of the vaccine so you couldn't play in Toronto. I never heard something so asinine in my life. The Sixers organization, you should be ashamed of yourself, because I don't know how the hell you did not check every single one of your players to make sure they got both doses of the vaccine. Um, by the way, and it wasn't the Johnson and Johnson he took; it was either the Pfizer or Moderna. So, and which we all knew was a two dose vaccines.
Why wouldn't
But
you just get it on like in Canada or for when you were at the game?
who knows? But long story short, yeah, we knew that they were gonna win. Embiid ended up getting injury on his hand, the torn ligament, and as soon as the postseason's over, he's scheduled to get surgery on it. But then in Game 6, because I guess maybe Doc Rivers got in his feelings because of the criticism he was getting on the media or people talking about like his legacy, looking back on his resume, he felt the need to make a statement. And while the Sixers were up by like 30 against the Toronto Raptors, um, he kept Joel Embiid out there on the floor, in which Embiid eventually took a mean elbow by Pascal Siakam into the eye and got a fractured orbital. So, good job, Doc Rivers. You made a statement. Floor is yours.
I don't have much to say. Like you, I think that series shouldn't have went past 5 games, let alone 4. I will say it was interesting to see the Raptors' young team, like Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam. I think that team is, either a star player away or a couple more developmental players away from being really good. Doc Rivers is an idiot. Sorry, I know he's won championships and whatnot, but Doc Rivers.
Doesn't he only have one championship?
Yeah, I think so. But the thing that bothers me about Doc Rivers is because of his reputation and like his resume, all the criticism he's gotten in the last few years with the Sixers, I know he said it once. He goes, people could check my resume. When they criticize me, it's like, no, you got a star player hurt, and understand that the NBA is moving into a different direction than what it was 10 or 15 years ago. So you have to make decisions to prevent injury and potential future rounds, like the second round or the semifinals, to make sure your star player is not hurt. But hey, um, don't need to spend too much time on that. It was an interesting series. What?
Okay. Next up, the Miami Heat versus the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, again, the 1 seed versus the 8 seed. Clint Capella was hurt. He came back pretty late. So did John Collins. So it was a 4-1 victory. I mean, we all knew the Heat were gonna
Yeah.
win with the way they switched so well on defense, the way Eric Spoelstra defensive system. We knew that Trae Young was the only offensive threat. Being just a 6 foot flat guard, he got compromised a lot of help defense. He was forced to pull like half court shots, which to this day I still believe are idiotic shots that you should not be settling for. But they shut him down, contained him, and won that series. Not much to say there.
I have nothing to say on that. And then moving to the Bucks versus Chicago series.
To me, that was honestly that's the second most disappointing series in the Eastern Conference, in my opinion. Like, I think that should have been a much better matchup, should have been more competitive given like the success we saw and how strong the Bulls were looking in the season.
Especially without Middleton.
Early on. Yeah, exactly. And then you have two like wing players in Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, but hey, DeMar DeRozan turned back to good old DeMar DeBroken in the playoffs. So I guess it's not just LeBron, or Giannis is the new LeBron in the East. And then Vucevic, I don't know. The first game he looked like pretty well, like he was playing better than LaVine and DeRozan, but I don't know. In that series, he really did not look like he was comfortable in his role as a third wheel there. So that felt a shambles. Lonzo Ball was out, so was Alex Caruso. So maybe that hindered them, but overall, that should have been a much more competitive series than it was, in my opinion.
Yeah. The only thing I wanted to add was that Grayson Allen started playing really well, and that was like when he started scoring a lot of points for them. He was scoring like 15 a game after averaging like 3 minutes a game. Moving to the next matchups towards the West, as we're trying to fly through the first round here. Phoenix versus who they
New
face?
Orleans.
New Orleans. There's not much to talk about there. Brandon Ingram is a potential future superstar.
I will just say, I think most of us would have thought that would have been a sweep. The Pelicans, I'll say they at least made it interesting when they pulled off those 2 wins. Like, it had us wondering, oh, is this actually about to be a series? Just for a moment. But overall, the offensive firepower from Phoenix was insane, especially from Chris Paul.
All it did was help us realize how much of a bunch of frauds the Suns are. So,
the Dallas Mavericks versus the Utah Jazz. That was incredible, given Luka did not play for like half of the series. Jalen Brunson held it down.
Was very good.
He held it down, yeah. That was a great series to watch. I had picked Dallas winning that series. Like, even without, after seeing the way Jalen Brunson was playing in game 1 without Luka, and I saw, even though they had lost game 1, but I saw how close it was, I said, they can absolutely win this, especially if Luka's going to come back at some point. I will say, though, for the Jazz, there's a big question mark on how long you guys are going to have Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah. And I think Rudy Gobert is going to be gone soon, too.
Yeah, and Donovan, like, so far, ever since that 1 year you guys beat OKC, your playoff resume really has not looked that well.
Moving on to the Grizzlies and Minnesota Timberwolves.
That was a pretty fun series to watch.
In my opinion, that was the best series out of the first round. To watch.
Out of the first round? Yeah, probably. Yeah, I agree. I don't know. Maybe between that and the Dallas-Utah series.
And I want to say I think that the Timberwolves are very close to being a very good team because I think Anthony Edwards is very good. I think that obviously Cat is very good. I think D'Angelo Russell is good, but I don't think he is necessarily suitable to be a third option. I think you need another star player or something to be added to that team.
I will say, like Cat, even though I mean he still wouldn't say he was dominant in the playoff like as we'd hope he would be. I did see some improvement this year compared to like his past postseason appearances. And overall this year, he's stepped up his game. He at least looked like an all-star in these playoffs, I think. And Anthony Edwards, I mean, the Ant-Man, he stepped up and like really was rivaling Cat out there and going at it back and forth with like John Moran of Memphis. But we could see like, I mean, this is his second year, right, Anthony Edwards?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we can still see there's still a bit of immaturity there, meaning, you know, you need that better decision making, like when it comes time to close and crunch time. But he's well on his way. Like he at least
that dunk he had was not a foul. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, at the very least, this series made people really start to key in on him and watch and saying, "Whoa, we need to keep an eye on this kid now."
I said it day one. He was better than LaMelo Ball.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, so for the last one, we have the Warriors versus the Nuggets. I don't know what else to say outside of Jokic is carrying a team with no help, and the Warriors are just the Warriors with Splash Brothers. And plus Jordan Poole, every other game scoring 20 plus.
Yeah, that series honestly wasn't worth watching, in my opinion.
I will say, though, with that, let's just add, because we're going to wrap up this video in a second, I want to add in there, since Jokic and the Nuggets are on topic, obviously, since we were gone, Jokic won the MVP. As we all know, Sean is a fan of the Sixers, and obviously Jokic is arguably one of my favorite players, if not my favorite player. I want to add, though, as an avid Jokic fan, I believed that either Embiid deserved the MVP, and if not that, at least Embiid and Jokic were co-MVPs. That's kind of...
I'm of the mindset, though, like, I don't really like the whole co-MVP thing. I don't think they should do it. I think they should just give it to somebody and just let the runner-up suck it up. Because then, you know, you can go back in history where there might have been other situations where there should have been co-MVPs. Like, none of that.
Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, I don't think Jokic didn't deserve it though. He played very well.
No, for sure. Like in its own right, he broke statistically. He broke a lot of statistical records this year.
Yeah.
But I will say, my man JoJo, first big man since Shaq to lead the NBA in scoring. That was incredible.
I agree. All right, so that we're gonna wrap this up here. We are going to have another video up for you guys shortly, reacting to the second round and third round of the playoffs. Without further ado, hope everyone is well, and it is nice to be back, and we will talk to you soon.
For me and you, I want you, I love you. Can I touch you, I rub, let me love you. Put my dreams to the side only cause I trust you. Girl, I trust you, I love you, won't judge you.